and the bicycle. And his only concern was to find a place to urinate in front of my wife and neighbors. That's all my son's life meant to him. We were trying to get back to life, trying to pretend at it a little bit those following days after Brian's funeral. And I was walking along the soccer field, and one of Brian's friends, who was 8 years old too, who looked a lot like Brian, he just walked next to me and he grabbed my hand, and he walked with me the whole length of that soccer field, never said a word. And that's when I realized it's too damn young for a kid to learn about death. 8 years old is too young to learn about it. Your age is too young to learn about it. But you're going to have to learn about it until you make the changes. Because people my age are not making the changes. People my age are not as mature as you. Maturity has nothing to do with age. It has to do with your mentality. I can guarantee you this. Sometime you're going to drink, and sometime you're going to drive. It's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. You probably don't want it to happen. But it's going to happen. And you have to decide now whether you're going to let it happen, whether you're going to take the chance of having somebody, some little child, on your conscience forever. You're going to have to make that decision. You have to make it today. Because when the time comes, you're not going to be able to. You're going to be too confused by the situations to make that decision at the time. So I want you, when you leave here, when you think about it just every once in a while, if you do, I want you to look at where Brian's picture is on that little piece of paper there. And I want you to not think about Brian. I want you to take and mentally put the picture of the person you love the very most on the face of this earth in his place on that piece of paper. And think how you would feel having somebody that you love the very most on that piece of paper like that. And that's all you had left of them, is a picture. If the man that had killed my son had been treated harshly the first time, maybe he wouldn't have had to suffer too with the responsibility of my son's death on his conscience. I hope for himself and his family that he gets his life under control. I don't have anger to him. I have anger to the situation. Does that make any sense? I don't feel either hatred or love or anything towards him. I don't really have the space for him. I have, because it wasn't him, it was a whole nation that killed him, that killed my boy. It was a whole idea that killed him, a whole idea that it's right to do, that it's okay to do, that it's acceptable to do. Even the judges and the lawyers and the politicians, they say, well, it was just an accident. You know, it's an accident when you have full control and something happens that you can't control, you know? Something happens, 4 tires blow out, you know? If the kid had run into the road between 2 parked cars in a highway, that's something. But when you follow a kid into his driveway because you're drunk, that's not an accident.